ChatGPT was introduced in November 30th, 2022. And it's like 2.5 years ago. And think about how our life changed since. I absolutely cannot imagine how my life looked like a little bit more than 2 years ago. Because I used to do so many things repetitively, spend so much time in researching, in writing content, in running my business and this podcast. And now I cannot even imagine my life without it. I do pretty much everything using AI, not necessarily just ChatGPT and other tools as well, for my business, for this podcast, for everything I do, practically, both in my professional and my personal life. And literally, this has changed my life as so many other people. So first of all, for those who don't know me, I want to welcome you for this podcast. Hi everyone, my name is Limor Bergman-Gross, and I used to work in tech for over 20 years and have a passion for supporting women in tech and help women grow and reach to the top. And this was kind of what drove me to start my coaching business 5 years ago and to start this podcast, From a Woman to a Leader. And this podcast, we have real conversations with incredible women around the world, and we help you, women in tech, to rise to the top. And I'm very excited for this episode today. So today, I am thrilled to welcome Nicole Hilgenkamp to From a Woman to a Leader, and she's a powerhouse in corporate transformation, procurement, and the world of AI. And she has over 20 years of experience driving innovation, breaking barriers, and delivering real results. And Nicole's journey, is very inspiring. She navigated challenges of being a woman in male-dominant industry and becoming a thought leader in artificial intelligence and digital transformation. And her unique perspective on leadership, embracing change, and preparing for the AI revolution is something that you don't want to miss. And I think this episode is going to help you if you're not using AI or if you're not sure how to utilize it for your life. And we are talking in this episode about how AI can simplify your life instead of complicating it, the biggest myth about AI, and why it's not here to replace us, and why women in particular need to be at the forefront of AI adoption. Obviously, every episode is practical, so we talk about practical ways to start using AI today, even if you don't consider yourself very technical. And this episode is simply packed with insights, practical advice, and fresh take on how you can lead in this AI-driven world. So if you're ever wondering, how do I even start using AI, or how can I help me work smarter, not harder, this episode is definitely for you. So I want to thank you for stopping by. And if you're curious about it, stay with us and let's dive right in. Hi, Nicole. Welcome. Such a pleasure having you here today.
Good day. I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, very happy to have you here and excited to talk about AI literacy. So let's dive right in. So first of all, I know that many people are afraid that AI will replace their job. And, even, people tell me my daughter study art and people tell me, oh, we don't need artists anymore. Like everything is going to be generated by AI. So from your experience, what are your perspective about like AI as an enabler rather than replacement?
Absolutely. Number one biggest FOMO is that it will replace jobs and it will take, we won't need our creatives. And there is some of that, right? It will definitely change the marketing industry, et cetera. But that's why I'm such a big proponent of driving AI literacy and adoption, because if you can connect the human to what AI is able to do, that's a really powerful trio. And what AI does for me mostly is it makes my life simpler. And so those that are utilizing artificial intelligence can use it to make their job easier, their life easier, and then connect their human in the loop. And we say that a lot, is that you always need a human in the loop. We're always going to, the machine cannot ever do what the human can do. It can do a lot of things faster. It has a bigger brain than a human, but you will always, it doesn't have emotion. It doesn't have passion. It doesn't have the things that a human has. And so I always think of AI as in two realms. One is, how can it enable you to do more with less time? And that's really what a lot of people are striving to do, is save time, make life simpler, because life is hard.
Yeah,
And if we can utilize AI in that mode, and then utilize any time given back to you for your own self-care, or even to get more creative into different mediums, etc., that's how we really want to pose AI for people to become illiterate, is not to take their job. Because if you don't become illiterate, then it could possibly take your job, because you're not moving with the technology that's available. So I've been in corporate America for a very long time, driving digital transformations where we bring in a great technology, we spend millions of dollars, and it doesn't get adopted. And I'm out now talking about AI literacy, because I know it's going to help a lot of people simplify their life, and who doesn't need that?
absolutely. We all need that. And I think also that it will make our life actually more interesting because it will take all the boring, repetitive tasks out of our day job.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's how people need to think about it. And so that's why I've been so passionate about talking about adoption. I know it's hard, because change is hard for people, and especially when you hear some of the not so favorable press around artificial intelligence. You hear all the scary stories. You're
Yeah,
not hearing as many of the great stories, and many people are utilizing AI and utilize it to make their life simpler. And you have to make that choice for yourself. So get involved and get into using it, making a habit out of it, and see what it can do for you.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I can share that it already does a lot to me. To be honest, I cannot imagine my life without it.
I can't either. I can't either. And but it shocks me to talk to people, or to even my daughters, and they're still saying, "Well, let me Google that." And Google is great, but Google now has Gemini. So there's so much more out there than what we might consider AI.
Yeah.
There's so much more out there. You can do it so much faster. And everything I do in a day, I say, what could AI do to help me? If I'm making dinner, if I'm taking pictures, if I'm doing content, if I'm preparing for a meeting, every single thing I do, and guess what? Every time I'm able to find or enhance something that I'm doing with artificial intelligence.
For sure. And can you perhaps share some statistics about, or examples that highlight how AI has a growing kind of role in the workplace?
Oh, okay. So we think that AI, some of the statistics are, AI could add 13 trillion to the global economy by 2030. And that was in a research done by McKinsey.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the workplace, 73% of businesses now say that they are actively investing in AI for customer service, using AI tools like chatbots to reduce response times. A chatbot can reduce response times by 80%. So, but AI is not just for tech companies. I really want to stress that. It's in retail, it's in healthcare, it's in agriculture, it's in everything. Where we see it the most is marketing. I think we might have all seen that Coca-Cola commercial that was done completely by AI, which is great, but we're seeing huge advances in healthcare, and some of the things that we need to do from an economy perspective to be more efficient. You saw just even in politics these days, you are seeing in the U.S., for example, we just brought into our new cabinet a chief efficiency officer, and it really was all around AI and bringing in one of the pioneers of AI, and Elon Musk. So you're seeing it change how we government as well.
For sure. And why AI literacy is especially important for women, in your opinion?
Um, so women have a lot on their plate always. We try to do so much with our families, with what we choose to work, what profession we choose to work in, and if we don't choose to work at all, and instead take care of a family, which is the hardest job, I think. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so we need help. We need help. I think our minds are always racing, and if we can make women's life easier, that would be great. But this is a great advancement. This is one of those major world advancements. And women, I think, with the power of AI, could go so much further, so much faster if we got engaged. So really, it's a call to action for every woman out there to make their life easier. It's a call to action to propel us into being able to have a seat at the table faster. We're getting better every day with women's equality and equitable. But I really think that this utilizing women who utilize AI and get engaged, it just will enrich their life, and it will make them both personally and professionally more profound.
Incredible. I wish it could do the laundry for me and cook.
Exactly, exactly.
That's kind of, what a lot of my time is busy with, like cooking and doing the laundry. So,
Just
I mean,
everything I mean, I think, our minds are racing always. We're always wanting to take care of everyone. And why not let this help us take care of people, just free us up from some time to do things that we want to do. And one of the things we could be doing better as women always is self-care and taking care of ourselves, so that we can take care of those around us better. And the AI can also, we think about it really a lot in the business world, or, maybe making that recipe. We kind of joke about that, but it really can. I've had AI help me with how to discuss things with my daughter better, how to post things better when I'm working with my husband. So it can be your tax accountant, your psychologist, your advice giver, and I've really been able to get some good information from it that has helped me in my interactions and relationships.
wow, I haven't tried that before. Something to think about, like how to interact with my kids and the people around me. I haven't thought about that. So that's a good point. And when you talk about AI literacy, what does it actually mean to be AI literate?
It means really just embracing AI and knowing how to maneuver within the space of artificial intelligence. You don't have to know everything there is about how we got to where we are, what the evolution was, when it started. All you have to know is it's here, and to get involved and understand how it's changing the world. So I recommend signing up for a newsletter just to kind of watch this evolve, because it's something that's changing every day, and start to make it part of the jargon that you speak about, and to utilize it and make habits of using it daily. If you start and make AI a habit, and if you use it every day, I feel that you would be as literate as you could be. You will never know everything. You don't need to, because quite frankly, artificial intelligence does, but you
Yeah.
at least need to know how to use it. So if you can use it and get better at using it, and it's not, the easiest to use. I mean, it's really easy on everyone. It's everywhere. It's starting to become everywhere. But what I would, in the old days, we used to say, Google it. How you prompt it, how to prompt it to get your result is really the learning and literacy that you would need to use Gen AI.
For
And
sure. And
yeah,
yeah, for sure. And you mentioned newsletters. I think, yeah, definitely kind of follow people in that space and sign to the newsletter. I follow a lot of influencers on LinkedIn and I learn a lot. I mean, I think that it's like what you know today may not be up to date tomorrow, so it's always changing. There are always new tools, always new things. And you mentioned prompts. Those are also things that people share, like they share prompts to do different things.
exactly. You could ask AI to be your prompt engineer. So let's talk about prompts really quick for our listeners.
Yeah.
Um, when you work with Gen AI and large language models, and there's lots of them out there that you could choose to utilize in your day, um, Gemini, Llama, Perplexity, ChatGPT is the one probably a lot of people know most, but you'll want to get engaged with any of them. Many of them are free. Many of them show up on your laptop when you buy it, Microsoft Copilot for one. You would start to utilize it. And what I've seen people do is they try to utilize it like they did before when searching the internet. And then they get a very direct response back. And the more that you can put into your request, which is your prompt. So how you Google it is now how you want to prompt Gen AI. That's what it's called in the AI world, is prompting. So when you prompt, you want to be as comprehensive as possible to ask AI so that you get a very enriched response back from Gen AI, and it will start to learn um, from you as you work with the large language model, and it'll start to get better and better and better. But some people have went in and they might have had a bad experience because they asked a very linear question and a very poignant, tell me this, and then they get it back and they're like, what's different about this? But it's different when you ask a comprehensive question and put as much detail as you possibly want. And then once you start getting those responses back, and what I've just learned here recently with prompting is I would always say, you know, what is the background? Here's how I want an example. Here's how I want you to respond. Can you provide me recommendations, etc.? But humans think very linearly. And what I've started to say is, what would you do, AI, if you were me in my situation? What would be my best choice? And what
Hmm.
would be my best book to read? What would be the best vacation that I should take that would achieve my goals? And I'm starting to see AI make those recommendations back to me, and that's really helped me as well. But if you don't know how to work with AI, like you said, there's a lot of prompts that are available out there, and you could ask AI, what is the best prompt I can use to find out X, X, and X? And then they'll give you a prompt. Then you take that prompt, fill in the blanks for your personal use, and then you'll be able to get a really enriched response back from Gen AI that should be pretty comprehensive. And then, of course, you can always ask follow-up questions.
Yeah, I consider it as an extended team, right? I mean, and the beauty of it that AI can play any role you want it to. And it can act as your marketer, as your, as you said, psychologist, relationship advisor, whatever you want it to be. You just need to tell it, what do you want that, in the prompt, what do you want it to be, and what's the goal that you have.
Yes, and there's lots of um, free training available out there. And how you ask Gen AI for those great responses is called prompting. Know that. And then we've even gotten uh, a new career called a position job called prompt engineering. So when we talked earlier in this episode, people were afraid AI was going to take jobs. AI is also, adding new jobs, and some of those jobs will be added in the next 2 years that we don't even know that they exist.
Yeah. I mean, I think we already have new jobs, right? I mean, prompt engineering is a thing. Like people who know how to write good prompts, depending on the field, obviously. I mean, they will already be in high demand.
Exactly. Exactly. And so I'm going to tell you, with so many corporate layoffs around the world, I think if people want to reinvent themselves, this is a great field to get into because it's booming. There is so much need for training. The tools are out there, but not a lot of people know how to use them.
Interesting. And what are some barriers for people to become AI literate?
I think one is people don't know enough about AI. It's available, but it's not forced upon people like maybe our smartphones were. When we get a phone and it's different, we're forced to have to learn all of the bells and whistles, and AI is not as intuitive. You have to seek it, and or if maybe where you work is utilizing it, you'll start to become involved in it there. But even in I've seen companies not, being a bit afraid of turning it on to the masses because of the ethical and privacy that companies are concerned about. So I know even individuals that work off a personal laptop and they have AI help them with their jobs, and then they go into their business environment that doesn't have all of the AI available, and they're in a very guardrailed situation with what's available to them, and then they take it from a personal to a corporate environment. So sometimes it's not available where you work, but everyone can have access to it free. It's out there on the internet with all the main, um, you know, uh, OpenAI. You can go to OpenAI, Anthropic. We mentioned Google Gemini, but I don't think people are thinking, "Let me go find it. Let me go find it." I'm telling you to go find it, go play with those companies, Meta, Llama, so many of them out there, and start to get comfortable. And once you start to get comfortable, you'll just want more and more and thrive for it to do more for you in your everyday.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned corporate environments, and I know that corporates, I mean, they have their own policies. So, how can, if you're a leader in a company, how can you introduce AI to your team?
Yes, well, understand a couple things around in corporate. Definitely, you want to utilize everyone should be utilizing AI in everything that they do. So in corporate, depending on your position, we've talked about it helping with repetitive tasks, but it all depends on your company's parameters. And your company needs to, will most likely put on some of those parameters. If they don't, then just personally watch what you put into um, Gen AI. You don't want to put customer data. You don't want to put obviously medical data, depending on your profession, et cetera. But I, what you want to do is start to talk about it at work if it's not being talked about. There's so many, a majority of CEOs in the world say it's where we're going, but
Mm-hmm.
they're not necessarily opening that up to any department other than their information technology department. And it really should be in every department. So one, investigate what your corporation uses for their large language model that's available. If it's not available, ask for it because it will make your job easier. And the more people that start to use it, that's when you're going to be able to start to see more productivity if with those use cases that could be scaled across to everyone's desktops. But it's all about the usage. So again, ask for it. If it's available, start using it, start talking about it and sharing how you're using it. I was at a company in which we hosted a hackathon where 3 months prior, it came down that says, hey, we have available to you Microsoft's Copilot. Everyone has Microsoft on their desktop. It's available. And it came in an email. No one reads emails, or they skim
Hmm.
it, they don't know what it is, and they turn away. This was in a big company. So as a leader of a big area of 400 people, we said, let's do a hackathon. And if we can do a training and we can get people hands on, trying to figure out how to utilize it better in their day, then we could, see great use cases and adoption. And by the end of that hackathon, we were able to come up with use cases that with an approximate value of $1.2 million of savings, of capacity, efficiency, and better experiences utilizing it in our day to day for the function in which we sat.
Wow, that's impressive. And
But it's all around, it's all around using it. And so many times when you're in corporate America, you're going to get a new technology. They're going to ask that you adopt it. In this case, an email came out, but they didn't. They're like, it's available if you want it. If you don't want it, you don't need to use it. So if you see anything around artificial intelligence, grab it. And if you don't, ask for it. Ask for it. Usually it's going to come from IT. I don't know why that everyone kind of thinks that because it's a new technology, it should come from IT, but really it can come from anywhere. So ask at your employee, ask at your employment, ask at your library, get it on your desktop at home or your laptop, your mobile phone, whatever you use. It's going to make your life easier.
absolutely. And how can women leaders position themselves as pioneers in AI adoption and literacy?
Yeah, well, yeah. Again, it's all about enroll. You can enroll in AI courses. There's a ton of free courses out there. I would definitely follow some of the women pioneers that are out there. I'm seeing women really in the workspace utilize or in their personal space. Some of the women are really standing out as standouts and authorities. So you getting connected with them. There's conferences. You can get certifications. Visibility is key. Share your successes, share your insights, your lessons learned, inspire others, because who doesn't want a life hack? And so don't keep it to yourself. Share how you're using it, share how it's making your life easier, and then it really will start the flywheel. And
Yeah,
there's some great women out there that are pioneering this. So look them up and connect with them, follow them, watch them, and they're on every social media out there, whether it be TikTok or LinkedIn or X or Instagram. They're out there.
wonderful. And how did you start using it, Nicole, if you care to share?
Yes, yeah. I actually was thinking that I would have a career change at my juncture in my life, and that I needed it in order to be competitive in the business world.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started to learn more and more about how I could adopt it, where I could use it. I started to use it a lot on my personal laptop because my company had not yet announced it. And I just got I just got so involved and passionate about learning it because it is fascinating how fast I could learn more and more information and use it in more and more different ways. I mean, ways that you can't even think of. And I'm just going to give you some examples to
Mm-hmm.
tempt the listeners. I can take a picture of my refrigerator and say, okay, based on what I have in my refrigerator, what can I make for dinner tonight? Again, I talked about how can I have a better conversation with my daughter when these are two different perspectives. I'm preparing for the end of the year. I'm asking it about some of my tax tax questions that I have in order to optimize my taxes. I've heard people take pictures of a broken watch and say, what's wrong with my watch? What needs to be fixed? Do I need a part? Can I repair it another way? I took some pictures. of myself, and I put them in 20 pictures into AI, and I said, please make myself look a little better and polished. And it now is my headshot that I use everywhere. So there's so many, and not only just these are nice practical reasons to use artificial intelligence, but I've thrown spreadsheets of data and I said, tell me what I'm missing, tell me what I need to know from this information. And it pulls out all the analytics and tells me things that I didn't even know to ask. And so you will start to utilize AI almost like a drug as a necessity in your life if you start to get involved in. That's why I'm so passionate about it, because it's helped me tremendously. And I talk to people who don't even know what it is or are fearful of using it. And I'm really wanting that. I mean, I really think that there's the next, cure for cancer could come from artificial intelligence. I really feel it could enrich our life in so many different ways. Um, and that's why I'm talking so much about it.
Wonderful. And any other thing you will want to share with our listeners before we end our call today?
No, I mean, again, when I say follow people out there on LinkedIn, you can find myself on LinkedIn under just my Nicole Hilgenkamp, Hilgenkamp. And then I follow a lot of other people that, especially women in this space. And there, you will be invited to a newsletter if you just follow any one of those individuals. And then you can slowly start to learn the new technology jargon, and you can get involved in some of any of the things, the tips and tricks of those that you follow to get engaged. And I promise you, that if you start to utilize artificial intelligence, it will make your life easier in everything that you do.
For sure, and you will be completely hooked.
You will be hooked. You will be hooked as you were, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your best use case? How do you use it the
I
most?
use it mainly. So two main use cases. One is for my podcast. I mean, I
Uh-huh.
cannot imagine doing my podcast without AI. Both for coming up, like preparation for episodes, editing the episodes, coming up with the title, with the description of the episode, creating different kind of content based on the episode. So that's one main use case. Another one is like in general creating content. It's not that I'm asking AI, oh, create an article on this topic, but usually what I do, I share different ideas that I had, different stories, and I kind of collaborate with AI. Hey, come up with some ideas about content. Help me create whatever I want, video script or like a article or a short post. So for content, definitely, it helps me tremendously. And also when I run different workshops, I run ideas by it. It helps me kind of create workshops. I used to do it manually, like Googling and searching for articles. It was so tedious. And now it's saving me so much time.
Exactly, exactly. And you can learn from it. You can ask it to put together a training plan for 30 days of how to utilize AI, how to become a better cook, how to write content better, and so many different things. Again, I just thought of another, it's your teacher as well. It's your teacher, it's your strategic partner, it's your tax accountant, your lawyer, your psychologist. It's so many things. So you will find that out if you just get engaged.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Nicole, for being here with me today.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for listening for the episode with Nicole. I hope it was helpful and I have an ask from you. If you like this episode or previous episodes, please share this podcast with anyone you think it's going to be helpful for. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode, and subscribe to the newsletter where I share practical tips and obviously every episode that comes out. And before you go, I have a question for you. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right, climbing the corporate ladder, hitting all your goals, only to wake up one day feeling exhausted, stuck, and wondering, is this really it? if you have, the next week episode is for you. I know I have felt that way, to be honest. And next week, I'm very excited to speak with Jo Stone. And she is a former chief marketing officer, and she used to have it all on paper. So behind the scenes, she was completely burned out. She made a bold move and left corporate, sold her house, and started over. And today she helps ambitious women redefine success and build unshakable confidence without burning out in the process. You don't want to miss this conversation, so make sure to subscribe to this podcast and also leave a review. Help this podcast reach more women. Share it with a friend who needs it. And really, if you like it, I would like to hear your thoughts. You can always reach out to me on LinkedIn, tag me in a post, send a private message if you want to talk to me. I'm here for you. So I hope to see you next week for another powerful episode of From a Woman to a Leader with Jo Stone. Thank you so much for being here today, and I want to wish you a wonderful day.